there, beautiful souls. Welcome to Embodied Numerology. I'm Jody, and today in this video, we are diving into a topic that I know many of you are feeling lately, and that's why things aren't flowing the way you expect and why you might be feeling stuck right now. And if you've been questioning why things aren't moving forward the way you expected, if you've been feeling uncertain about your next step, or if there's this underlying tension between what you want and what's actually unfolding, then this video is for you. And I want to start by saying this: feeling stuck, it's not a failure, and it's not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is an invitation to pause, to recalibrate, and to align more deeply with your truth. So today in this video, we're going to explore the root cause of why you might be feeling stuck, the difference between stagnation and what I call sacred flow, and most importantly, how to shift back into alignment with practical steps that honor your energy. So let's go ahead and dive in. First, I want to talk about why you might be feeling stuck right now. There are a few core reasons that come up again and again, and I want you to tune in and see which one resonates the most with you. And the first one is there could be an energetic misalignment, and you might be thinking, what in the world is an energetic misalignment? Well, I'm going to break it down for you. One of the biggest reasons for stagnation or feeling stuck is that we are pushing against the natural rhythm of the collective energy. And I'm going to focus more on the collective energy in this video, but if you're interested in learning more about your personal energy, I do have a free guide down in the description box for you. So look for that there. Going back to the collective energy, this year, and maybe you've heard a lot of people mentioning this, but I'm a numerologist, so I'm going to mention it some more. We're in a 9 universal year, which some of the core themes of 9 energy are completion and reflection and really deep transformation. It really is an energy that is about closing old cycles and letting go of what's no longer working. And at its core, 9 energy is about creating space, or holding space, you might say, for what's coming next. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets sticky, and this is where it gets crunchy and hard. If we are clinging on to old patterns or old beliefs, or we're attached to outdated ways of doing things, we create resistance. And I know that's hard to admit sometimes. We don't like to claim when the resistance is ours, but we do by clinging to old patterns, beliefs, outdated ways of doing things. And it could just be because it's easy, it's comfortable, it's secure. But when energy is moving forward, when we do this, it really is a form of resistance. So I want you to recognize that. And we can feel stuck, and it's not because we aren't moving, but it's because we're holding on to something that is no longer meant to be part of our next chapter. So if you are resonating with that, or if that information feels a little bit triggering to you, I want you to ask yourself, am I truly stuck? Or am I resisting something that's already in motion? And I often describe collective energy, sometimes also called universal energy, which the 9 year that we're in right now is collective universal energy. And the way I describe it is like the weather, right? It's like the energetic weather. So if there is a rainstorm going on outside, we can't just decide we don't want it to be raining, and the rain isn't just going to stop because we don't want it to be raining. So what do? We put on our rain boots, we put on a raincoat, or we use an umbrella and we navigate the rain anyway. So that's a way that you can think about the 9 energy that we are all kind of moving through this year. It's like the energetic weather. We can't stop it. We can't just wish it wasn't happening. It's happening. The shift, the change is happening. So we can acknowledge that and choose to flow with it, and to use an umbrella, right? Put on the raincoat, put on our rain boots, and get out there and, keep moving forward, keep doing our thing. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is over-identifying with external structures. So what do I mean by that? Another reason that we can get stuck is because we're measuring our progress and where we are based on external expectations. And everyone in our society is completely programmed for this, right? Our culture loves to glorify growth, hustle, and constant expansion. And if you're not constantly growing or hustling or expanding, at least the Western culture here, I know it's different in different parts of the world. But coming back around to our soul doesn't move on someone else's timeline, right? So if you are feeling stuck, it could be because you are trying to force a version of success that is not a match for you. It's not your version. So think about that. Is this version of my life, how I'm working, how I'm hustling, or what I'm doing? Am I doing this because of external expectations, or is this what my soul really wants? For this one, it's giving yourself time and space to just pause and think about that. If you do recognize that, no, this is not what I want to be doing right now, or I'm not aligned with that, it's giving yourself grace and permission to honor what's right for you. So that's the second one. And then the third one is this idea of avoidance and over attachment. So let's dive into what that looks like. Sometimes we are stuck because we are avoiding a necessary ending. And I get it. I do this. All of us, we resist closure because it's comfortable, right? Whether it's a relationship, a business, personal growth, a job, whatever it is, we prefer to stay in limbo sometimes because we know limbo. We know what to expect. Even though limbo might not be like the best fit for us, we know it. We're comfortable with it. And when we start feeling stuckness here, it's a sign that you're holding on too tightly and that you are maybe a little bit too attached to whatever that is. And it could be an old identity, it could be an old goal, it could be an old way of thinking, whatever it is. One of the things that the number 9 is teaching us this year is that in order for us to shift into something new, that we must first release our attachment to something that's comfortable. And that's hard. We do not like releasing our attachment to comfortable things, but it's necessary. So if there's something in your life that is feeling heavy, exhausting, or misaligned, ask yourself, what am I afraid to let go of? And then the last one, and this one is a big one, is lack of clarity on what the next step is. And this is a difficult one. A lot of you might be in this space right now, and you might be feeling stuck or feeling some stagnation because you're waiting for the perfect plan before taking action, or because you can't clearly see where you're going. you're afraid to make a move. And our minds crave and want certainty. But I want you to remember that our souls want expansion. That's why we are here. All of us are here right now in this universe, in this world, on this planet, because we are expanding. Our soul wanted to expand in some ways. You don't need to have the entire roadmap before you begin. And especially this year, it's kind of impossible with 9 energy to have like a complete, clear, definite roadmap. Even for all of you type A folks out there, you might have a whole plan mapped out for the whole year. I have a whole plan mapped out for my business for the year. But I also know, as a numerologist and understanding this energy as well as I do, that my plan needs to be flexible. It needs to be malleable. I need to be able to shift. And even for those of you who don't have a plan, or you're not able to kind of map out the full thing in this moment, during this year, best thing that you can do to get unstuck is something. Right? The best thing you can do is something, and know that whatever that something is, that it's the right thing. Okay? So tiny little micro steps, micro shifts is the name of the game this year. Action brings clarity. It's not the other way around right now. So instead of asking, what's my whole plan, or what's the game plan, or, typically, like our brain, it wants to have like a map from A to B, right? But this year is asking you to recognize and be okay with the fact, I don't know what B is, but I know if I keep taking small steps, that each step I take, the next step is going to appear, and it's going to get me closer to B. Okay? So now that we've identified, and those were the 4 root causes of why you might be feeling stuck, I want to talk about something equally important, and that's, how do you know if you're truly stuck or if you're just in a necessary pause? And I'm going to explain this more deeply, because sometimes what we perceive as being stuck is actually just a phase of deep integration. And a lot of us are going to be feeling that during this 9-year. Actually, that's the goal, hopefully, for all of us, is that at some point during this year that you find yourself in a state of integration. And this is what that looks like. In numerology, everything moves in cycles. So right now I'm talking about this idea of expansion and reflection. Expansion and reflection as a cycle. And there are seasons within this of action and momentum and integration and stillness. So if you're feeling right now like nothing's moving, it might not be that you are stuck. It might just be that you are in a reflection phase, and that's okay. And here are some signs that you are in a reflection phase. Okay, you might be feeling the need that you need to slow down, and that you need to rest, and that you need to reset, you need to pause and recalibrate or reevaluate something. Okay, that's great. That's great. It doesn't mean that you're stuck. That is a necessary part of the cycle. It might also mean that you are processing some really deep emotions or past experiences. Those things might be coming up for you to integrate them and either transmute or release, okay? And you might be feeling a little bit of resistance around starting something new, and that too is okay. In a reflection phase, you really shouldn't be trying to start anything new right now, because that would be pushing against the natural flow of energy of where you are in the current moment. Now, so that's the reflection phase. Here are some signs that you are in an expansion phase, and it's really quite the opposite. So if you were in an expansion phase, You have clarity and you have this urgency. You might even feel like you've got a fire under your tush to take action. And for you, you might be having downloads and ideas and all this information that is streaming in, and you're just raring to go, right? And you are feeling pulled to step into something bigger. So if you are feeling any of those things, that means that you are in an expansion phase right now. And here's the thing, both of these phases are necessary. And the key is just knowing which one you're in so you can work with the energy instead of against it. And there's no right or wrong. So if you are in an expansion phase, you are going to drive yourself crazy trying to slow down and reflect and evaluate right now. And if you're one of those people who but this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm supposed to be taking things slow, allow yourself to be in that state of taking action. And vice versa, if you're in the reflection phase, do not beat yourself up and don't feel like you have to push through and take action and be active and be doing things if that's not what you're feeling, because you're going to burn yourself out, okay? So acknowledge where you are so that you can work with the energy of where you are. All right, the next thing I want to unpack quickly here is this idea of energetic versus strategic misalignment. And that one sounds a bit funny, so let me explain. Energetic misalignment. If you are energetically misaligned, you might be feeling exhausted, uninspired, or drained by what you are doing. Those are really the key signs that your energy is misaligned, and that's why you're feeling stuck. You're pushing and you're pushing, or you're trying to continually hustle, and it's not that you are tired per se. It's like you just don't have your energy reserves are depleted. So that's a sign of energetic misalignment. Now, strategic misalignment is different. Strategic misalignment just means that your head's not in the right space. You need to shift your mindset. This is what strategic misalignment might look like and why you might be feeling stuck because of it. This one is simple. Mostly it arises from self-doubt and low confidence. If you're afraid of stepping outside of your comfort zone, but deep down you know it's time, and especially where this gets really nasty is when your inner critic kicks in and you start bad talking yourself for not stepping out of your comfort zone when you know deep down that it's time for you to do it. So if this is resonating with you, what's keeping you stuck is really your mindset, and what's required for you to shift is to step outside of your comfort zone, which I know is not easy, but you can do it. So take a courageous step forward. So I want to talk about some ways that you can shift from stuck into what I call sacred flow. So how do you actually do that? I've already touched on some of these, so I'm just going to walk through each one of them with you. And there's kind of 3 different approaches that you can take. And the first one are those micro shifts that I talked about. And the idea of micro shifts is that you don't have to have the complete plan. In fact, in this year, I would say having the complete plan is not the best thing. So micro shifts are, instead of waiting for the perfect time, you take one small action. And instead of second guessing yourself, you say, well, I'm just going to try this thing and see what happens. How bad can it be, right? And trusting that. And the energy this year really is supporting you doing that. Some years It's about being more cautious, but 9 energy craves and wants expansion and change. So remind yourself of that and give yourself the space to play in that a little bit, okay? It can also look like, instead of feeling overwhelmed by the big picture, that you just focus on one little thing, right? You don't have to know the whole thing. You just have to be able to see the next step or a step and take it, okay? And with micro shifts, the stagnation breaks by moving, okay? Even the smallest little step can open the floodgates of flow for you. And then the second one is releasing resistance and letting go. And I know this one's hard because we like to cling. Like I said, we like to cling to what's comfortable, right? But with this one, it's really about giving yourself permission to let go. And this could be expectations that you have. So ask yourself these questions. What's one expectation I can let go of right now? What's something that used to represent me that no longer represents me, that I'm willing to let go? This can also look like allowing instead of forcing. So for that, you would ask yourself, what's something that I'm obviously forcing and trying to control right now? Can I just allow instead of trying to force? Okay. And then lastly, sacred flow versus forced action. And this kind of aligns with that last one. When we trust our alignment, things feel easier. When we trust the flow of the collective energy, things feel easier. And that doesn't mean that we can't take action or we can't have a definite way that we want things to go. It just means that we recognize the current and the way things are flowing, and we step into that flow instead of trying to work against it. And when we loosen up our belts a little bit to flow to flow with that, we start to pick up momentum. It creates a ripple effect and we experience less resistance. And this does not mean, like I said, not taking action. It's really more about being aligned with your own energetic flow. And if you would like a little guidance on that, like I said, I have an Activate Your Flow free guide in the description box below. So check that out. And sacred flow is when you trust that flow and you allow things to happen with ease. Okay. All right. I know this was a lot. I've thrown a lot at you guys today, and I hope this resonated. And if anything that we talked about in this video today, if you find it triggering in any way, I want you to invite you to take a look at that and ask yourself, what is it about that triggered me? Okay. And if this episode resonated with you, I would love to know your thoughts and share this with a friend who you think needs it. And until next time, stay radiant, stay aligned, and trust your flow. All right, you guys, take care.